All right, we are officially live here in the sit down of the Built in Buffalo Network, of course, presented by Dove's Famous Wings. I am the Buffalo Sauce God. You can follow me on Twitter at Buffalo Sauce God. Joined here with my co host, as always. And by the way, Montage, I haven't heard you tell me yet if my microphone, and no, it was not plugged in this entire time, buddy.
As he gets the microphone going, this is the sit down here live every Saturday night, 7 p.m. Mafia montage with the Sauce God. Hit him up, brother.
Now, Montage, I was actually just kidding with you. I wanted a test run because I wasn't here last week. I know that you actually got to fill in for me last week as the host. You did an incredible job. Your buddy
We
actually
missed
seemed
you.
like he knew what he was talking about as well. So it's great to be back this week. I know everybody's kind of like, what are they going to talk about this week? Well, it is, of course, Super Bowl Sunday tomorrow. We've got to discuss some of the things the Bills did offensively that I didn't like, that I did like, and much more as we head into the off-season officially. So if you're just now tuning in, hit that like and share. You're live here in the sit down on the Built to Buffalo Networks, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Montage, let's get that introduction kicked off. Yes, welcome into the sit down on the Built in Buffalo Network's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Of course, I am your host, the Sauce God, on Twitter at Buffalo Sauce God, joined here with my co-host, as always, Mafia Montage at Mafia Montage on Twitter. So first and foremost, Montage, it's good to be back to talk with you. How are you doing this weekend?
How you doing, Bills Mafia? How we doing? Feeling good. I'm glad to be home. Been traveling quite a bit last couple weeks here. So out to Detroit, cross 8 Mile over to Kalamazoo, and getting some Welch's juice made there. So feeling good tonight, brother. So how you doing? I know had a little snafu with the timing. Sorry, folks, and we had a little microphone blip there at the first, but we're all good and we're ready to talk some Bills and some Super Bowl football, right?
Ain't
So
it weird though that tomorrow is Super Bowl Sunday because it's like it crept up on us, number
yeah,
one, but it's like it just doesn't feel like Super Bowl Sunday. I don't know if it's because the Bills aren't there or what, but it definitely has. It doesn't feel like Super Bowl Sunday to me.
no
I mean, the
buzz really.
Eagles
Yeah,
and the Chiefs, that's a matchup to talk about. So we are going to dive into that as well as Hoodoo Mafia Montage and I both think is going to win this game. But one thing I actually really wanted to focus a lot of today on was the prop betting picks. A lot of people here in the state of New York are now able to, of course, legally sports bet if you're 21 or older. So prop bets are a really fun way to get in on the action for some, of course, for those that like to gamble a little bit more, for those
mm,
that don't like to gamble very much. Prop bets is a really fun way to kind of get into it. So we're going to dive into some of that. We're going to give some of our picks for that as well. But
our boy
also
Roy
keep
here.
those comments flowing in because, hey, we're live here in the sit down and we love connecting with the fans. So we're happy to have you guys here joined us with us tonight. It is, of course, Saturday night, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, every Saturday night here in the Build the Buffalo Network's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. So, Mafia Montage, let's move into our very first segment. As always, we like to go through these segments. This is bada bing, bada boom. What are some of the good things that you've seen this week in the world of sports, Montage?
I see our guys kind of getting out there in the public view, doing some other things other than just football. So, I mean, we had the since the last show, we had the Pro Bowl games and things like that. Had several Bills players out there doing some things. Diggs caught a nice pass from Trevor Lawrence, and some skills competitions and stuff like that I kind of like. And then some interviewing. Gabe Davis sat down with people. Stephon Diggs has been saying some things. Love to hear. He's so damn competitive, and I think that he's hitting it right on the head there, as you saw guys like the Bills chat pod, part of Built in Buffalo, and Built in Buffalo tweeting out today, that we, you know, we want to win. And so if you show Diggs someone that uh, likes losing or is okay with it, he's going to call him a loser, and that's not who Diggs is. He wants to win. He's highly competitive, and I love to see it out of the guy. So, tell us more about what you guys think in the chat here. Let me know how spot on you think Diggs is with being so competitive. He wants to win, and I think that's the right attitude to have.
So one of the things that I actually saw that was really beautiful in the world of sports, of course, we had the NFL Honors Award. And hold on one second. We had the NFL Honors Award, and that right there is where we see the NFL MVP awarded, Coach of the Year, that kind of stuff. And it actually turns out that the man who was in charge of the CPR for Damar Hamlin received a first place
Mm,
vote in the MVP award voting. So I thought that that was pretty incredibly special, right? In Montage, I know we've talked about Damar Hamlin nonstop here in the sit down, but
sure.
wow, what a beautiful thing. I mean, because really the NFL MVP award should be going to none other than JA17, right? So if you're not going to vote for Josh, you might as well
Yeah.
vote for somebody that actually had made a difference, obviously, in the life of somebody, especially when it came to life and death. So Montage, I thought that that was a really special moment, um,
To add
especially to
to that, before
recognize
you
the
go
people
on,
that are. What's that?
someone came out and said they're going to be very surprised, or that they guaranteed that Hamlin's going to play again too. So what a freaking beautiful thing to hear this week, that he might suit up again and play the game of football. That's kind of cool.
I mean, it was definitely really awesome to see how he was able to speak. And it's good to hear that the end of the conspiracy, well, for the most part, the end of the conspiracies that he has a
Right.
body double and that it's not actually Damar Hamlin and all this other nonsense. But I thought that that was a really incredibly special moment
Right.
just because sometimes we forget to recognize those that are not as famous, you know what I mean? And it's
Right.
sometimes really quick to forget that Damar Hamlin didn't just keep himself alive on his own. You know what I mean? Sometimes people forget who it is. So this person being able to be recognized, of course, and receiving a first place vote. I forget what his exact name is. I wanted to say it on the show, but I thought that that was really awesome. So that's my moment of bada bing. One of the good things that we've seen in the world of sports this week, of course, for myself and Montage. But if you guys are out there in the comments, keep those comments flowing. We are live in the sit down on the Built in Buffalo Network's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Of course, this is the Built. This is sponsored and presented by Duff's Famous Wings. Built in Buffalo is in partnership with BLB Sports, Picasso's Pizza, West Her, New York, and Ticket IQ as well. Now we're going to move on to another segment, and this is where it gets a little bit more negative, and that's going to be forget about it. What are some of the ugly things that we have seen in the world of sports? Montage, I'll let you start us off here as well, my friend. Forget about it. What made you want to say forget about it in the world of sports?
Yeah, I think the just the constant bickering, I think, in sports as overall, with I think we touched on it last week a little bit too in the sit down, and I'm kind of reusing that. Is just there's just a lot of kind of craziness in sports right now. The NBA has kind of an all-time high of kind of arguments and fighting going on. I mean, we had the season
Some
start
of the
with,
biggest trades going down in NBA too, by the way. Kevin
yep,
Durant being traded. I mean, you're talking about one of the best players in the NBA.
blew the Nets right up, and then they come out and they beat the Bulls. So the Bulls' effort in that game was actually one of the worst things I've seen, ugly things I've seen this week. Uh, Mostly because I thought they might win, or at least be able to get up by 10 and get me that early win on the DraftKings there. But yeah, I think that it's just I think overall, some of the negativity, just in general, I think kind of would like to see it go away. And yeah, I'm guilty of it myself. I just think that we need to kind of get with people here and get with our own and kind of uplift everybody. So
Yeah, I think the thing that I wanted to talk about that I just what I thought was an ugly moment in the world of sports this week, and montage, maybe it sounds incredibly biased when I say this, but Pat Mahomes getting the MVP award. And I know that
mhm,
I was just talking about the MVP award, obviously being with the vote going towards the member of Damar Hamlin's, the medical staff that kept him alive. But Pat Mahomes winning MVP this year, I don't know if I like it. I don't know if I agree with it. I figured if there's going to be another person that was eligible, well, I'm sorry, not eligible, somebody that maybe earned the right to win the award enough to me, other than Josh Allen, and not in a biased way, would have been Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts and those Eagles looked like the best team in football for really, if you look at the entire year, knowing what the Buffalo Bills produced as a result of their season. The Eagles were the best team in football, and Jalen Hurts was really, really good and efficient, and he didn't make a lot of mistakes. And I thought that Pat Mahomes is up there in interceptions. Where's the same narrative when you compare him and Josh Allen? Josh Allen's a turnover machine. I don't see Pat Mahomes getting that same slander, that
mhm,
same hate, right? But the guy goes to win an MVP award. It almost makes you wonder how biased the NFL is towards
mhm.
a guy like Pat Mahomes. Now, Montage, this is something I kind of wanted to dive into a little bit here. Are we seeing the NFL starting to favor the Chiefs and Pat Mahomes similarly to the way that we saw them do so with the Patriots and Tom Brady?
Maybe. I mean, as much as I hate to hear it, I mean, the guy led the league in yards and touchdowns, and he lost effectively, one of the best weapons in football in Tyreek Hill. So, um, I totally understand. The narrative is there too. It gets frustrating, and we kind of see it year after year. Kind of one of those things where it's like give it to somebody new. But I think this year it's a little bit different with the way he still kind of came out and and put up the stats with one of his weapons kind of going away. So, obviously has one of the greatest tight ends in history of football to throw it to. So it's not like he has no weapons there. But I think it's just at least for me, I think I can at least see a little bit of why why they would lean towards him. But I would have liked to see. I think the Eagles were one of the teams like you mentioned that it's kind of the class of the league, and I think they'll show tomorrow a little preview, a little foreshadowing, right? So um, they were really good. I think it's something that you would have liked to see a little bit more weight be put towards that, like you said.
Yeah, I do think, losing Tyreek Hill, it showed a lot of how great Tyreek Hill was, but it also showed Pat Mahomes could definitely still play without Tyreek Hill. But let's not act like they didn't go get him some replacement weapons
Yeah.
in Juju Smith, Valdez Scantling,
Mhm.
Kadarius Toney. It's not like they didn't go and get guys that could still play the game of football next to Pat Mahomes. So it gets a little bit on my nerves that all this love for Pat Mahomes,
Yeah.
without any of the same slander that comes towards our guy Josh, right?
For sure.
So
Yeah, I get it. I get that. They're both,
and
you
of
know,
course,
top of the
Pat
league.
Mahomes
So
is very good. The Chiefs were very good. They are in the Super Bowl. They have there's nothing that I'm saying that is supposed to be saying, hey, these guys weren't good enough. I just, again, where is the same slander towards Josh? And we beat them. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like we beat them in the regular season, and the Chiefs beat. I'm sorry, the Bengals beat them in the regular season as well. Of course, they lose to them in the postseason, but in a matchup that was really close for the most part, right? But is Pat Mahomes that much better than guys like Josh Allen and all that? I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to wait till next season to see. Montage. It kind of sucks to say that, but I just again, if you're gonna have players that have similar stats, let's have the narrative be a little bit a narrative be less negative towards one if you're not gonna have it as negative towards the other. You know what I'm
sure.
saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's always, some favorites and things like that that go into play, and it's really frustrating. So, I mean, I don't think that the two are far off, but at the end of the season, you got to give the award to somebody. And I think
I think Jalen
I
Hurts deserved the award more, but I like what Roy said that, Jalen's going to more than likely win Super Bowl MVP, which
yeah.
I would like that because I am rooting for the Eagles tomorrow. And more on that, too, guys. If you are just now tuning in, you are live here in the sit down on the Build the Buffalo Network's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, of course, with myself, the Sauce God, and Mafia Montage. This is presented by Duff's Famous Wings. We're going to have some Super Bowl predictions ahead of us, as well as our Super Bowl prop betting picks. We'll go in order from things like the coin toss and all that much more to have some fun with you guys out there. But keep those comments flowing. If you haven't done so already, hit that like and share. If you're watching on Twitter, hit the retweet button, hit the follow button, and then come on over to YouTube. Subscribe to us. Join in on the comments so you can have fun with us live here in the sit down. But let's move on, montage, to our next subject. And yes, we have got to take a small look at some things from this previous season, even though it didn't result in a Super Bowl victory. And even though we're not playing tomorrow, we still have got to look at some of the things that we did well and some of the things that we didn't do so well, as we are looking to build our offense up for next season and looking to have something more efficient and effective. So, Montage, let's talk about it, my friend. Building on the offense for next season, you said you had some stats for us. Let's get into it.
Yeah, I think it's interesting to look at some of these things. You're going to have a departure probably of Devin Singletary, right? So you're going to have some guys not coming back, and then it'll be interesting to see what we can build on. And this is what obviously the name of the segment for building is, what are the building blocks? Okay, so we have Stephon Diggs, top 5 or 6 in the league in almost every category. So you have Justin Jefferson, Stephon Diggs, Tyreek Hill, right? Those kind of guys. Um, so Diggs tied for third in touchdowns. Okay, so only Devontae Adams and Travis Kelce had more. In yards, you have third. This is including playoffs, so excuse me. And then receptions, you have fifth as well. So I mean, this guy's putting up stats, and he's still wanting the ball more, which is great because he's still at the end of the day, 16 catches behind the leader in catches. He's still uh, 19 targets behind the leader in targets. And, he even played, I played the same, he missed one regular season game. That's why. But, I was going to say they made it farther than Justin Jefferson, but they did actually play that same number of games because Diggs didn't play one. So, but he wants to be number one in all those categories. No mistake about it. Right. So he's our first building block. I think that there's some stuff that came out about his brother wanting to play with him and stuff. I think that whole thing last year was a little bit more so to bring um, his brother Travion to Buffalo, and then this year the narrative is to send him Dallas. It's not happening. He's going to be a Buffalo Bill. He wants to be a Buffalo Bill, and
He said
I
last
think
year about how this was his contract extension to get him to retire as a Buffalo Bill.
yeah, absolutely. So I mean, there's no mistake about it. He wants to be here, and he's put up big numbers. And I think statistically this year he was really good. There's some improvements that can be made, obviously, and we'll go through that. But Stephon Diggs is building block number one. He's a really good building block. Then we have our rookies. I'm going to go to them next. We have Khalil Shakir and James Cook. Really good progress from beginning of season to end of season. That's what we wanted to see. And then as they get through their first NFL offseason program, I think you guys will really kind of see how Gabe Davis kind of came out on his first NFL offseason and improved. And that's what you're going to see from these guys. And I know, you know, Chad Hall's not here now, so that development's going to be a little bit different. It's going to be with a new face. But those two are pretty good young guys. And then obviously, as we're hearing in the comments here, is we're going to need to get another receiver and some O line, in the draft. I think is what
100%
Roy,
agree with that,
you know,
Roy.
is saying. So, and Roy, let us know if you're talking draft or free agency or you don't care how, just get it done. But yeah, I think that, I think, Tyler's coming in, Cook's good enough. Yeah, I think he is. I
He
think he'll be
started holding
fine.
onto the ball towards the end of the season
Yeah,
a heck of a lot more. He made less mistakes, way
yeah.
more.
I know it stinks when you start your career off with a fumble, so he's gonna have that tied to him, but,
Hey,
I
it's
think
only
you
you can only go up from there is the way
yeah.
that I try to
Again,
look
yeah,
at it.
everything's gonna go up. I think you're gonna have more training, more, preparation, and more, coaching in the pros and have this NFL offseason that's gonna be completely different than what is any other offseason he's had to date in his career. So I think you really gotta understand, um, that his progression is key here, and that's something we're going to rely on. And then I'm not going to leave out Gabe Davis. Everyone can hate me if they want to, but Gabe Davis is one of my guys. I've met him. I think he's a great guy, and I understand football is more than just about being a good person. But at
I
the end of
think
the day, I like that
he's
he's
gotta be
a
here.
big body, and I think he's a hell of a red zone target. He's definitely scored his share of touchdowns so far. So I really think that that game against Kansas City wasn't a fluke. He's got the talent to not necessarily do that
We
every
know he
game,
can
but
make
he's
big
got talent.
plays.
Yeah.
So, that's one thing I actually let me and I mean to stop you, but I
No, go
do
for
think
it,
that
brother.
this
Yeah.
is
I need
something
a
I
breath.
definitely wanna focus on this aspect is that Gabe Davis, I think, was injured most of the year, either with
Yeah.
something with his foot or his ankle. I don't know which, whatever, but something was hobbling him to the point where his production was not as consistent. He made more drops. He made less toe taps. Sure, I think most of that was due to injury. I think Gabe Davis is really good. Number one, with his size, number two, with his speed, and number three, with his playmaking ability. I also think that the biggest thing that he has got is chemistry with Josh Allen. He actually watched a video of him saying about how he thinks he's one of Josh's top 5 people in his
Yeah.
life.
Exactly.
And, it's about how they approach everything the same. And I believe in stuff like that. I like Gabe Davis a lot. I love his character. I like the fact that the kid is a fisherman. The kid does things you just don't hear about him in the wrong ways. And I like Gabe Davis, and I think that he should be a part of that offense coming into next year. Um, Now that's a good question too, Roy. We'll get into that here in just a moment as well. But Jamison Crowder, that's a tough one because we saw some light, right? But he got hurt. So we'll talk about that here in just a moment as well. But Khalil Shakir is a guy that you've got to give more reps and more command to because he played really well. Khalil Shakir, unlike James Cook, didn't really make mistakes at all during the season. It felt like, right? He's not committing drops, didn't commit fumbles, turnovers, anything of that sort of nature. So I like Khalil Shakir to get more production heading into next year. James Cook definitely has earned my trust after fumbling to start his career. I like that the way that he has come on as of late, and his speed is effective. So
Yeah.
if we could
Yeah, your
build on
lack
that,
of the lack of use, I think, like, it's perfect. I was just pulling up the drop percentage for the team. Jameson Crowder leads, but he only it's a smaller sample size, 1 drop on the year, and then, Khalil Shakir second, but it's only 2 drops, so he had less, and then Gabe Davis is the big concerning one, had 7 drops, 11% drop percentage, and that's the thing he's gotta get rid of next year, and then McKenzie's right behind him at a 10% clip, so you wanna be, in the single digits for sure. You obviously don't want to drop any, but just to be on par. Stephon Diggs had 9 drops total this season, which is most on the team, but he obviously had most targets, most receptions. So his drop percentage only 7%.
mhm,
I like to see that. And that's kind of where, these building blocks are there. There's improvement to be made, but these guys are pretty young, pretty skilled. I mean, Gabe Davis isn't old. I mean, he's got a couple years in the league here, going into his fourth year, I think, this year. So it's not like we're aging out here at this position. We have some good, talent. I think that with Dawson Knox and then Quentin Morris also, we just gotta get some better execution and things. So did you have more to say? I think on that Khalil
yeah,
Shakir and building blocks.
I just think that with those young guys, like that's the best part about the way that we were able to draft last year with guys like James Cook and Khalil Shakir is that okay, you might lose guys like Isaiah McKenzie, Jamison Crowder, you might lose guys like Devin Singletary, but now you have guys that fill in those gaps that can
Yeah,
play that are hey, I think paired alongside a first year offensive coordinator going into second year is a really good thing. Now he's got his set of guys. Now he's got his vision coming to life. And a lot of what was already there was, obviously the remains of Brian Dable's offense.
Yeah.
So maybe Ken Dorsey has a little bit of a different vision for this offense. Maybe he sees things a different way. Maybe his plan is a little bit different going forward. But I do think that he and some of these young guys are really great building blocks. Gabe Davis has got to be a part of this team. Stephon Diggs will be a part of this team. James
Yeah.
Cook will be a part of this team. Khalil Shakir, those guys, and Dawson Knox as well. So how do we build on that montage? Are there any other things that you want to add to that before we get to some of the offensive best and worst moments to highlight from the season?
Yeah, just going back to Roy here. Cousin Eddie's in the building. What's up, Gage? Um, so I think that re-signing Crowder um, will be something I'll look for during maybe towards training camp more. Let's see how the draft, let's see how the offseason progresses. And I want to see um, if a guy like Hunter Renfro becomes available at the right price for the Bills to get him, because that would be the ultimate slot option right now.
Now,
I I
is that a guy to overall replace like a guy like Cole Beasley for you as well too?
Oh yeah, 100%. This guy, I mean, it's the next, Cooper Cup is obviously the best slot receiver in the league, and he's
Well, Hunter
doing it at a
Renfro
big
reminds
level.
me a little bit more of like a Julian Edelman.
But yeah, Renfro is just, who was it? Was it Chris Hogan? Was that his name? Um,
Yeah,
they called him, 7-Eleven. He was always open and whatnot. And it's like, Renfro is, Hogan on steroids. This guy is just impressive. And I don't mean that he's taking steroids. I just mean that it's just like, a bigger version of the guy. So yeah, I think that it's obviously a big target in the offseason would be Hunter Renfro for the slot. I think it would just put any competition to bed, right? So then you can define other roles more definitively and give these guys kind of more structure. And then it's a question of whether or not McKenzie even gets brought back to the team next year too. If we don't see McKenzie brought back and they are able to cut him, and then we can get Crowder on the cheap, I think that's a good option as a depth for that position. I don't think Crowder's bad. I think he's still got a lot left in him, but it also he got hurt. You got to see how he
can't
heals, what his
afford him to
medicals
be
are.
injured.
It's like yeah, we'll have to see what all that means. And then Levi comes in here. Yeah, Beasley would be great to bring back if we can get him back and see, as long as again, we got to look at what these guys have on their medicals. What are their health going in? Is Beasley? Um, he played okay. I don't think he was completely washed. So I think if he's willing to put in the work and get ready this offseason to make a
A
full run
lot of it
next
is
year, I
going to
don't
also
know.
come down to the big thing that we have failed to mention: money.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was saying, Roy. Is like obviously he would have to be at the price we could get, but I mean, I'm by no means not even a financial guru, in my own personal life, but by no means a salary cap wizard. So Brandon Bean he will get that stuff taken care of and get that done. I think we've beat that dead horse just enough, like there's plenty of restructuring things that'll be done. And, I'm not going to go through all that, but I think it's, important. It's going to be important for us to focus on building the offense this offseason. That's really the big thing too, is we haven't focused on building the offense. We've been so focused on building the defense and defensive line more than anything that, and then secondary last year. So I want to go out, I would be totally great if they go and get the top wide receiver in the draft. And even if they have to trade up for it, whatever they got to do, maybe they can give, a first and Ed Alver or a first and some other player, let's say, whatever it's going to, and maybe some other picks, but get up there, get the best guy. The guy's name is Johnston, I think, is the highest rated guy, and he's a 6'4" monster, 215, I read. So it's like, go up there, get that guy, and Roy's with me here. Yeah, I got you, buddy. So, yeah, so it definitely would be a good idea to get the best youngest weapon out there. And if the Bills think it's the wide receiver position, which I would think that is where they would go, then great. And then offensive line, I agree, we got to do something with it. it's tough. They're not going to be able to keep their MO. I mean, they just never drafted the first, their first few years. They didn't have to draft for need. They just built their board and they went by it, and they thought those were the best players available when they took them. And that's why they were head scratching picks, but they just went by their evaluation and said this is the best guy still available, and back to back defensive linemen. Just our guy, Witty Not Funny Sports coming in. Excellent. Love it. So
But to
we
sit down
appreciate
is
that, brother.
money. I love that. Wow.
So
Excellent.
I think that where we're going with that is that we got to get the offensive line obviously needs some help, and then a good receiver. Uh, I would like to
Oh,
get
the
a good young
offensive line
receiver.
needs a
So
ton of help.
but
Ton
their
of
MO has been not to use draft picks on need, and I think that that is going to change drastically this year. I think it started changing a little bit last year. Saw the cornerback right away, but I think they're really going to have to go for need this year because they don't have the money to pay free agents, on the open
Yeah,
market
especially
basis.
offensive linemen. Really good offensive tackles cost a lot of money. So,
Yeah.
hey, that's a good point. But if you guys are just now tuning in your live here in the sit down on the Built in Buffalo Network's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, this is presented by Duff's Famous Wings. I am your host, of course, the Sauce God, joined here with Mafia Montage as always. If you're just now tuning in, don't be afraid to hit that comment button and get involved in the discussion here as we're discussing some of the things that the Buffalo Bills have got to focus on in order to build that offense up for next season. So, hey, I wanted to highlight one play right here that shows exactly what the Bills offense is capable of, and that was that 98-yard touchdown play to Gabe Davis, right?
Mhm.
That was a play that we saw exactly how explosive this offense could be at times. I highlight that because a lot of what we saw from this Bills offense was we saw at moments they could explode, right? And at moments they could explode so badly that they could lose the football game, right? So that's one of those moments I want to look at. Why is that a moment to build on? Because it's Josh trusting his guys at the 2-yard line that we're not looking for a first down here. We're looking for a damn touchdown, 98 yards. Have that sense of confidence going into next year. Have that sense of it doesn't matter if our back is against the wall. We can go turn this into a 98-yard touchdown. Gabe Davis, always struggling this year. Doesn't matter. All of a sudden he explodes. That's the type of things that I want to see us build on next year. And here's some of the worst moments to highlight. The entire Green Bay game. What were we doing on offense that game? The woes were nonstop. It just was like, where is this coming from?
Yeah,
That's
I think
when
that's
most
where
of
we
these
kind of start.
inconsistencies started coming to
Yeah,
light, and I saw less offensive line. I'm sorry, more inconsistent offensive
yeah.
line play, more drops, more stupid mistakes. That's a game. If I were the Buffalo Bills, I'm looking at that game right there as a game to learn from this entire year. Montage, what do you think, my friend?
Yeah, I just want to address one thing in the comments. I like to go through these comments there. I really appreciate guys interacting with us, so I want to promote that. So, if you're here watching live, participate in the comments, and then I think on Facebook you can go back if you're watching it back. Feel free to comment on the post or anything. But you know, I don't think so. I think that the talk with Bean and drafting is going to be a little bit more geared towards utilization of those players. We had a long discussion in the group chat here with Built in Buffalo, and I think that I kind of but was persuaded a little bit more towards these guys got to be utilized better. The guys that we are drafting, you know, we did make that one Terrell Bernard pick in the third round, and we just didn't use him. He just couldn't get on the field, which is, it's one pick, and it's a blatant, sore thumb sticking out. But beyond that, I think we got to utilize these guys. We didn't utilize Shakir necessarily to his fullest extent. I think we did end up giving Cook down the stretch and really giving him his run. I think he did pretty well. But some of these guys, um, like Ed Oliver and some of these draft picks, they're putting to this rotation. They're not on the field all the time. So you see, when the big talk with Von Miller when he was signed is, oh, what's his snap percentage going to be? Is he going to be out every down player? And he was out there. So we got to get a little more consistency, I think, with I love the idea of keeping guys fresh, but not everyone is able to just get up and be there when their name is called, and I think that's something we got to address. So, the best moments were exactly kind of what you're mentioning. I think, when we were hitting on those pass routes, and just, getting these guys open space to run, we saw a lot of success. And then when we got into more contested areas and we're forcing balls in, or we're seeing pressures, um, those yards and those plays came less and less. So the best thing was, I think early on we were healthy. Everyone was kind of in sync coming out of training camp, and I liked, the first two games we really rolled. And obviously that Tennessee game we went to together was just a ton of fun, right? Just rolling up the points
Yeah,
and just
but
seeing
we
this
did
team
we did
roll.
also start seeing injuries kind of unfold at that point too,
And
which
that's what
was a
that
big reason of a lot
yeah.
of what derailed us too.
That's my worst moments to highlight is, letting guys come free, off the edge and things like that, and getting Allen hurt. He hurt his elbow 2 different instances, and, just,
Mm,
we have got
preach.
to button this up. We gotta protect, and I think it's just for me, the worst moment is just seeing the lack of adjustment, and the worst moment overall, because it's still in my head, burned into my head, is the first drive. Allen misses Diggs on that, and I'm not saying it was the easiest throw in the world, but just he was open, and you got to get him the ball. That's your job as the quarterback. So however you can do it, you got a wide open receiver there up the sideline, and we missed on it, and then just got rolled from there. So I think that was a big miss early on in the game, and we needed to come out and hit on some things right away, and we just couldn't, and that's the difference in the game. So you go out on on that game, and that kind of sticks with you. So, I think we want to be, like you said, just the consistency of hitting some of these things is going to be big. But looking at some of the stats here, is this the yards after catch per reception numbers are pretty bad overall for the full season. Um, the first guy with any types of snap count is actually Dawson Knox, having a 4.1 yards after catch per reception. And then Diggs is less than 4 yards, 3.7. Isaiah, 3.3. Gabe, 2.7. That's got to be better next year. I mean,
Amen to that.
it's got to be better. We talk about Yak, and it's just not enough, man. We got to get
Back it
these
up.
guys out in open space, get running. I mean, you saw that 98-yard touchdown. That was a perfect example of what we need to see more consistently, but it's just we're not able to get there. So we got to figure out how. We got the players, and we're gonna have players coming next season. I'm not sure who they are yet, but we're gonna have them. And whenever you have Allen back there, you have Diggs on the team, you're gonna have a chance for success and have those moments. So that's
Excellent.
what I got for that segment.
Montage, I appreciate you very much, and I appreciate everybody in the comments, of course, thus far. That's all we're going to discuss with the Bills heading into the next season. Now, Montage, let's go ahead. Let's get to our Super Bowl predictions and prop betting picks. I'm going to go through some prop bets after our Super Bowl predictions, our final score predictions, and I just want to hear what your thoughts are. I'll give you mine. We're going to run down them. Then we're going to give you the Montage Maniac of the Week, which is who Montage thinks is going to be the Super Bowl MVP, followed by getting saucy, and we'll let you guys get out of here and continue the rest of your weekend. So, Montage, let's go ahead. Let's start it off. What do you got for us? Super Bowl final score predictions.
So this is just a prediction of what's going to happen, not the score, right? Um, so I think that the Eagles win this game by at least 10 points, um, because their defense is really good, and I think that um, Mahomes has been less mobile. Obviously, he had a high ankle sprain, and I think that if he's unable to move more than what we saw, which I get, he had 2 weeks to heal. But if he's not able to move around uh, significantly more
He's
than what he
handing the
has,
ball off on one foot, hopping around.
yeah, and so we'll see that obviously he's
Uh-uh.
going to come out and give it his best, and I think he'll be improved, but I'm not sure what that looks like. And I think the Eagles' defense is just pretty stacked, and in all three levels, from the line to the linebackers and the secondary. So I think that it's going to give them troubles, and it goes into kind of one of the prop uh, deals that we had at the our sponsor, Underdog Fantasy's got a couple specials going for the Super Bowl. They give you uh, Jalen Hurts at higher or lower than point 0.5 yards, total yards. So go there. That's basically a freebie if you go on there and take that. And then Mahomes has got a profit boost. So you get 30 times your wager with including this, and his number is 317.5 total yards. So
No
I
shit.
also so I went lower on that, on the 317.5
Well,
yards. I
hold
don't
on.
think.
I want to just get the score predictions, then we'll go to some prop bets because
Yes, sir.
some of these prop bets are really funny, and they show you like terminology that you learn about where it's like, what the heck is that? But
Amazing. So
final
yeah, I
score
think it's a
predictions. I'm
10-point
going Eagles.
victory
By
with
the
a
way, I'm going Eagles 30-28.
there you
30
go.
28.
Put a number to it. I'm gonna go. I gotta go 34, 21 Eagles.
34-21. So we got 30-28 and 34-21.
Yep.
Okay, I like it. Montage. Let's take a look at some of these prop bets. Of this, these are coming courtesy of FanDuel, which is your typical sports book. And then I want to get to some of those underdog picks as well. But this is the
Yes,
first
sir.
one that comes into play every year, the coin toss result. I'm picking tails this year. I think it was heads three of the four last years. I'm picking tails this year. Montage. What about you?
I have to root for based upon I'm in there's a really cool prop pool I'm in with my buddy, and he does it. We used to do it like with just 3 or 4 of us. Now we're doing like 8. It's up to 8 people now, but um, it's heads, and I think I need KC to win it so that the Eagles can have
Oh,
the
so your
first.
coin toss winner would be KC as well.
I can't remember it now. I guess maybe I need the Eagles to call tails, and then I can't remember. Yeah, KC needs to start an offense, I think, and then they
How
need
about
to.
this one? Will the first play from scrimmage result in a first down? Yes is plus 330.
Wow.
No is minus 450. I see those numbers. I'm slamming yes, right?
Yeah,
Because the first play could be a freaking touchdown. You know what I mean? It could be.
I'm
But to
slamming
get
no
plus
because I need a
330,
Kansas City incompletion for the first or interception.
how about this too? This is one that what is this? Will there be a scoregami, a unique final score? Like, is this like the um,
That's
first
cool.
time that the final score will be this, like,
Yeah,
55-51?
right.
Um, this is one right here, montage. Any player to record an octopus. And for those of you in the NFL the world that don't know what an octopus is, that is scoring a touchdown and a 2-point conversion on the same exact drive.
Wow.
You put up 8
The
points.
8 points.
You
Yeah,
put up an
okay.
8-point octopus. Now, montage, the odds on that are plus 1,300 for yes and minus 4,500 for no. Just saying, if you slam no, get out of here.
Yeah, I gotta
Uh,
go yes, man. I'll even guess that it's Travis Kelce that does it. I don't care.
Hey, that'd be a good one, or like a quarterback. I could see a
Yeah,
quarterback doing
Hurts.
it too, like
Yeah,
a Jalen Hurts,
exactly.
runs it in and he punches it in
Yep.
for the 2-point after. But here's one right here. And we're gonna give you one final prop bet each. Montage, give him something from underdog, and I'm gonna give him something off of here as well.
Yeah,
Um,
the cool thing, Underdog has a bunch of players at over under half a TD, so those are cool. But Patrick Mahomes' number at 317.5, I mentioned total yards, rushing and passing, and I went lower
Eagles
on that.
defense is
So
really good.
yeah,
I could see it going lower. A lot of people I could see slamming over there, like 317. You could just throw that.
yeah,
The Eagles defense is really good. Between their pass rush, between their defensive backs, the Eagles don't have a ton of weak points in their game. So montage, I really think that is there going to be any player to rush for 100 plus yards? And I'm saying yes. I'm saying somebody from the Eagles is going to run for over 100 yards. That's plus 310. So I'm going to take just that, and I'm going to take tails on the coin toss as well. And I'm going to take the Eagles to win the game. And that's it.
there you go.
That's what I got, my friends.
I got a little parlay going. I got Eagles money line. Hurts to have 225 plus passing, and Devonta Smith to have 60 plus receiving.
Dude, Travis Kelce is a minus 115 anytime touchdown score. That's crazy. That's
I got a
crazy.
$5 free bet, and I just put it on Jody Fortson. So watch out, folks. The plus 1,000 Jody Fortson to score anytime touchdown.
Amen to that. I like that very much. Montage, appreciate those picks and appreciate everybody. Let's check in with some of the comments real quick before we move on to our Montage Maniac of the Week.
Yeah, we see
Amen to
people
that,
chime in
Charles.
saying
You tell
these
them,
are
Charles.
guys hoping for saying there's not really either team. So uh, Pete's coming in looking for some heartbreak. Think he needs to go listen to some Bill Ray Cyrus. He'll be all right. And then cousin Eddie here has bet on the coin toss, and he's slamming the yes for one of the bets you mentioned, and I can't remember which one he commented on that one for. So appreciate the comments, guys. Thanks a lot. And also, before we get any further, I want to say shout out to 71 Slicks, my barbershop. Really appreciate them. They're running a really cool promo right now. If you guys go get your haircut there throughout the month of February, you get entered in a drawing to win a 4-pack of tickets to a Sabres game. So go out there, visit 71 Slicks out
Awesome.
on Broadway, get entered to win a 4-pack of tickets, and tell them that Mafia Montage sent
Tell
you.
Montage sent you.
My guy Josh and Dennis out there doing their thing. So hit them up, let them know.
Excellent. Well, Montage, I appreciate it and appreciate everybody out there for their likes and shares, their comments. Now we are going to move on to our next segment here, which is a usual every single week, and that is going to be our Montage Maniac of the Week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Jalen Hurts. What a great story he is. I think the guy works his tail off. Obviously a highly touted recruit, plays at Alabama, gets taken out, Tua takes over, goes to
Ooh.
Oklahoma, works his way, gets to Philly, works his way, starting quarterback, had a hell of a season this year. We said it earlier, we think he's gonna be the Super Bowl MVP, and I agreed with that. So Jalen Hurts here is your Mafia Montage Maniac of the Week for the Super Bowl.
Montage, I love it, my friend. This is what I'll say about Jalen Hurts. The fact that the guy never transferred, he never transferred like during the middle of the season.
Yep.
He leaves Alabama when he's eligible to go to Oklahoma, does great things there, is a great teammate there, shows that he could play still, and comes in the NFL, takes over for a situation where Carson Wentz is on the outs, Doug Peterson's on the outs, and hey, is Jalen Hurts good enough to play? Well, he's got the Eagles in contention in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs this year. So, Montage, I like it, my friend. Now let's move on to our next segment here, and this is a little segment that we like to call Getting Saucy, and this is presented to you by Duff's Famous Wings. Let me tell you something, Montage. It is Super Bowl Sunday. What is it all about? It is all about being safe this weekend. That means no drinking and driving. That means if you're going to get saucy, do so responsibly. Enjoy your chicken wings. Enjoy your betting. Enjoy football action tomorrow, because whether the Buffalo Bills are playing tomorrow, it does not matter. It is still Super Bowl Sunday, and that means that there is no excuse, guys. No drinking and driving. If anybody is in the Western New York area and you need a ride, call Uber, call Lyft, call a family. It doesn't matter.
Hit
Call
up
somebody,
Mafia
because,
Montage on Twitter, DMs.
hey, hit us up, guys, because there is no other person's life, including your own, that is worth the risk this Sunday. So enjoy Super Bowl Sunday responsibly, guys. And hey, that will conclude the rest of this entire season, as the Bills will get ready to come back strong next year. But that doesn't mean the sit down is going anywhere, guys. Tune in next Saturday night right here in the sit down on the Built in Buffalo Network's Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Of course, this is presented by Duff's Famous Wings. I am your host, as always, Buffalo Sauce God, on Twitter at Buffalo Sauce God, and my co-host, Mafia Montage, at Mafia Montage. And we all say to you guys, go Bills and enjoy the Super Bowl. Drink responsibly. God bless. And again, go Bills.